All right. So we've been through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 awards thus far. And real quick, best live stream game was Counter-Strike Global Offensive. That was our best live stream game. Obviously, that didn't come out this year. Crysis 3 and Battlefield 4 tied for best graphics quality / technical achievement. Best esports title, Dota 2. That was a heated one. Best story in a PC title was Gone Home. Best multiplayer game was Dota 2.
That game sucked too.
Best indie game was also Gone Home, winning all the awards.
God.
Biggest letdown, these were not positive ones and obviously will not be up for Game of the Year, but Sim City in a runaway.
Oh, yeah.
Biggest letdown of the year.
Good job.
Shocking. Really shocking.
And worst Game of the Year, this one was hotly debated because there was a lot of shit this year. Ride to Hell Retribution narrowly over Day One Gary's Incident for the victory.
Just barely.
And single player co-op Game of the Year, BioShock Infinite. Actually retitled recently to BioDoge Infinite Memes. So those are the winners of the other awards. But now we talk about the big one, the Game of the Year. And we have several games on this list, although it is a shorter list. And Tabes is on here too, but he isn't really a game per se.
Technically.
Well, it wasn't released this year.
Taves was definitely not released this year. But, alright, on the list, let's just get right into it. First one, BioShock Infinite. I think it's going to make the cut. I think it's going to make the cut.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think it's a little too well received not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So BioShock Infinite obviously makes the first round. Gone Home. Several people now have played it. I think I have not played it, but I think from all the praise and the fact that it's already won two awards here, and I think Gone Home has to stick through a first round of cuts.
Yeah, I think
Good with that.
Having just played it,
let it stick, like sticky rice.
Sticky
Go
pea,
for some sticky penis rice right now.
God, I'm going to
on the
see
rice
Rob
and then
You're
Delaney
making
in
sticky
March.
penis
So
rice. You need to see a doctor. And please don't tell us a gross real life
You know what the two
anecdote
ingredients
based
for
on
that are? Two ingredients are semen and rice, and you can eat for the rest of your life. It's a simple meal.
I don't think that's...
That is a thing.
You become your own food factory.
Jesus
That's right.
Christ.
You just recycle, man. That's it. It's all good.
Tim in chat saying we're lucky he's running Strathhome because he would not let Gone Home make the cut. Tim, you liked Arkham Origins as an original story, and it's not an original story, so you don't know what you're talking about.
Batman punches a bunch of dudes.
Batman punches things. Joker involved. Other enemies. Batman wins. I've read this comic before. All right, this third game, I shall fight tooth and nail for it to make the cut. Tomb Raider. It was the best overall experience I had this year.
I'd say it makes it to the first round. I had a lot of fun with that game.
I think
I wouldn't
it is...
disagree.
Man.
Nick Fenton. I think it has to make the first round of cuts, personally. Tomb Raider is... It came out and redid a character that was completely shallow before, made her into something a lot better, and the game is fantastic. That's gonna
I take issue with everyone saying that she was shallow before. Come on, do we know that? Are we sure? Were we only getting to see one side of?
If you have to use the phrase "do we know that," then the answer is yes.
Yeah.
No, we don't. We only know the side that the game developers showed us of Lara. We didn't see her when she wasn't in front of the camera, and she may have been a very deep individual that was just cast in a poor light. So
you know that when she isn't in front of the camera, that means Maya got closed, right? Like there isn't anything after that.
Well,
look, she's thrust into a difficult situation.
What an appropriate word to use for Lara. Thrust.
What do you want to judge this based off of the Angelina Jolie movies? Is that what you?
Yeah, that's true. I would like to go off of that. I feel like she was pretty layered in this.
I'd like to thrust into... Angelina.
Can we make a game based around that, like a drinking game or something, and then vote for the movie as game of the year since we came up with the game this year? Or
So
actually,
you
that might
wanna
have
drink-
actually it would have to wait until 2014.
You want to drink and thrust into Angelina Jolie and then call it a game, and that's vote for it next year.
That's what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's just call it Game of the Year 2014. All right, podcast over. Done.
All right, this next game, Battlefield 4. I love this game.
It's a good game.
I don't know that it makes this cut because this is Game of the Year, and you have to take every single thing
Yeah, as a
into
package,
account.
nah.
As a package, this game was broken as shit.
Wait,
on
so
launch.
we're not removing points on Tomb Raider for its multiplayer, but we are removing points from Battlefield for its single.
Oh,
I don't think its
shots
multiplayer
fired.
is relevant.
Shots fired.
relevant.
It's the whole package, Daniel. It's the
I
whole
guess
package.
so, but like, I don't. A Tomb Raider makes it on that single player. It's that strong. I don't care what that multiplayer was.
I think we're still in the mindset that multiplayer is optional, but single player has to be taken as part of the experience, which really isn't true.
There was a single player to Battlefield 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, like
there's that, but I mean, Battlefield 4 is.
See, I think you got to look at it if you're going to make that argument. No,
I
go ahead,
actually
Brandon.
I actually think that is a good point because they put multiplayer in the game. I think there's something to be said for a game like BioShock where they focused on single player. There was no multiplayer aspect, and even like Gone Home, right? There's no Gone Home multiplayer
do you
because
think
that was
wanted-
the point of the game.
I don't even know that the developers, if you ask them, would have been like, yeah, we really wanted to put a multiplayer in there.
But
That is
I'm saying that factors into it. They were checking a box.
Like, they had to check a box, though, or else
Yeah,
Ubisoft
and they
isn't
didn't
going to
make it
publish
good.
that game.
They didn't make it good.
I don't
Okay,
ca-
but
That's also not our responsibility. That doesn't
But
matter.
do the two cancel each other out? Because you don't care about
Why
Battlefield
does
4
everyone
single
shit
player.
on Crisis 3 multiplayer? It was not that bad. I
Crisis
played a
3
lot of it.
multiplayer is quite good.
I
Why
like
never said
Crisis
that?
No one plays
multiplayer
it.
is good.
Nobody
It's just
plays it.
unpopulated.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider single player is so good, and that's why you bought it. I didn't even know it had multiplayer when I bought it.
I didn't either.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
Do
you
they
don't.
cancel one another
you
out
can't-
though? Because like, if you want to look at it as Tomb Raider's multiplayer is meaningless, so is Battlefield 4 single player.
yeah, exactly. That's a shit single player generic shooter campaign. But
And
that's not
Battlefield
why
4
I'm
is
a
getting removed from this list.
Yeah, but that's not why. It has nothing to do with its single player. It's getting removed
I
because it
think
was a
it's-
broken mess for a month
I would
plus.
I would personally remove it for both reasons because no one cares about the single player. That's a box that they're checking, and it's broken.
Well, in Crisis 3, you can just cross it off right now because that single player is uncompelling as shit.
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah.
And
And nobody plays the multiplayer.
Well, I put that on this list solely because it won an award in another category. I figured.
See, I think Tomb Raider stays because Tomb Raider might, like, the multiplayer might not be relevant, but it wasn't broken as shit when it launched. Like, it was a full,
Actually,
playable,
you could
interesting
play it
experience.
still. That's got that over Battlefield. You could play multiplayer if you wanted at launch. When the game wasn't crashing
True.
constantly.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying Tomb Raider should be removed, but I think that's a good point to remember for Game of the Year is that you have to take the game in its entirety.
I
And if
agree.
they include it, if they
I love
included
Gone Home's
multiplayer,
multiplayer.
You know what needs
really
to
solid.
happen, though, is more developers need to be like the Spec Ops The Line dudes. And just
Okay,
basically,
let's stop talking.
Yeah,
because
let's-
that
let's
multiplayer,
get
that
mad.
multiplayer was even. I'm not even going to talk about the multiplayer or the single player because the multiplayer was fucking trash.
No,
Like,
no.
that
This
game-
is.
like,
Do you not remember all the stuff surrounding that?
What?
The
That
devs,
they
the
were
devs,
forced
I
to do
believe
it,
the
yeah.
devs had a lawsuit afterwards to EA for like detriment of the product because of they didn't want to. They really, they told all the the publisher board guys and stuff. They were like, no, there's no point to this in this game, and it was forced upon them. Like. If I could go back and if I had played Spec Ops in 2012, it would have definitely been up for a Game of the Year consideration for me. That's how much I like the single player. Like, the multiplayer shit because they just throw it in there. Like,
I think in the age of Steam sales and the fact that a lot of times, like if you have a good game that doesn't have isn't compelling as a multiplayer game, people are going to pick it up on sale. And something like Tomb Raider or any game really, like any game that has some multiplayer that isn't really like isn't the sort of the cornerstone of the game, that just gets relegated to complete obscurity. And like all of the resources that you spent on developing that multiplayer part could have just made the single player part better.
100% agree with you. But I don't think there's anything that a developer can do in that AAA world right now. If EA or Ubisoft or whoever it is says we want to tack multiplayer onto your game, or your game has to be multiplayer, like what are they going to do? Say no and like we can't put it out? Spec Ops tried that and it didn't go very well.
No, I'm just making a comment like on the industry alone. I think we're gonna. I hope that we see. I hope that we see more games focus on like the core competency of the game and the team that's making it. And if you have strong creatives who can make a great single player experience, make it single player. If you have guys who are well versed in multiplayer, you think you can make an awesome multiplayer game, do that. But like, don't compromise on the quality of either one of those to make it both, just so that you can check both of those boxes.
Also, I will, on a side note, chat is tearing into each other, and I like it.
Yeah, it's good. I like watching you guys kill each other. It's great.
All right, so this next one.
No, this award means a lot.
It does.
This is the award that the entire industry holds its breath to see when KBMOD will name its game of the year.
Well, let me say this, Scott. I think we're more important than the VGX awards at this point.
Well, absolutely. There's no
I've taken shit's more important than the VGX awards.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, Dota 2. It's the only multiplayer game.
Single player was bad.
The tutorial is shit.
No, that's true.
I think it has to make it. It is.
Yeah,
it'll make it.
Yes, it's been around for a while, but full version comes out. It is the top played game on Steam by about 500% over like anything else. It's a free to play game done completely correctly as far as like microtransactions and that kind of thing. I don't know that we can say a whole lot of bad about Dota 2. It makes the cut.
There is no bad.
Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. I put this on here because Tetra is so stoked about it. It's gotten good reviews pretty much everywhere. And if he was here, I tried to get him here this week. I could not get a hold of him, but he would have voted for this. But none of the rest of us have played it, I don't think.
I'm thinking about it. I might try it up.
I've heard only really good things, so props to them for keeping Assassin's Creed somehow fresh, according to most sources. A game that should have been shit by all rights, but was pretty good by all accounts. So, but I don't think we can. I don't think we can put this in our list, as none of us have played it. So
nope. Sorry, mate.
All right.
I don't play video games.
It's true. You just play hat simulators.
Yep.
And occasionally WoW. The Swapper.
WoW is a video game. It's a job.
The Swapper. The Swapper is extremely strong first effort from those guys over there. A 3-man team did that game. Everything is in claymation. Fantastic puzzles, fantastic story, fantastic atmosphere. I did want to highlight it. That's why it's on here. Do I think it stands up to the 4 that have already made it?
No.
Probably not.
I really like that game, and I voted for it for best single-player co-op, but it doesn't stack up against any of this stuff.
So you should go play the Swapper. I believe it's pretty cheap. I think it's like $10 when it's not on sale. So go get it.
Once it goes on sale like under $5, I'm gonna grab it because it seems like one of those games that you will absolutely want to pick up on like the next Steam sale.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely good, and you should definitely check it out. And Scott is adding a picture of some type. I can't wait to see what it is.
All the hell.
Loaded. Damn. All right.
I'll get it. Don't worry.
All right.
Takes a second sometimes.
Up next, The Stanley Parable. Now, our problem with this last week was, is it a game?
Right.
What the fuck?
A Nick Fenton special.
Jesus.
Get the fuck off my screen, Scott. Get that off my screen. I'm offended.
No. No. No.
I can't. The description.
All right. Anyway, Stanley Parable. Can it make a cut on this? I think it's incredible.
I don't think so.
But
I think, again, that's not a game for everybody, though. There's going to be some people who play it that are like, dude, what the fuck did I just play?
or won't find it funny, or...
Let me ask a really simple question. Does it have any chance of winning against these other games?
No.
No. Scratch it.
No.
Can I bring up the point that I think it's really hard to rate quality for like a game of the year sort of title and not take price into account.
True.
Because the value of something like Gone Home or the Stanley Parable or the Swapper, I think is when you look at that compared to $60, $50 like Battlefield 4, Tomb Raider, BioShock, it's I mean, like that helps them come so much closer to like Game of the Year candidates in my mind. But if you take price out of the equation, it's so hard to stand up to like some of the top-notch AAA experiences.
I mean, I don't know. The Stanley Parable is an amazing remake of that mod. Literally everything is better than the mod. Like it's done in a fantastic job. I mean, yes, the quality factor, but then how do you fuck up Battlefield 4 so bad with that kind of budget? Or SimCity?
Because EA.
Like, you can say that and like that it should help these games, but I mean,
no, I'm just saying, like, if I look at it that way for like even something like BioShock, which I think is really awesome, these games that only cost $5, $10, $15, when I think of it in terms of like, did I get 4 times the experience out of BioShock that I did out of a game like this, it's really hard to say that I did.
okay.
That might actually open up.
We should have had a value. We should have had a best value of the year.
Yeah.
I almost feel like there is sort of another category. It's like best value, but then you have Steam sales and things that really muddy up that water. Because I think BioShock hasn't it gone on sale for $30 at this point.
BioShock and Tomb Raider were both $10 on the Christmas sale.
I think if we take
BioShock Infinite was not $10.
Infinite was in a pack where you could get it with both other BioShock games for $15. It was a $5 game before the end of the year.
It was cheap. It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, so that makes it really difficult to call. But I just think I was more bringing it up as like just a point of discussion. That I think
if you mostly focus on what it launched at.
Yeah. Right. I think the Stanley Parable, what is it, $20 normally? I think. Maybe
it was 15.
If you're going off based on the price it launched at, Gone Home wouldn't even be on the list. It was $20 for a 2-hour game.
Definitely not be on best value. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Neither would a game like it.
And I loved that game, but
I just don't think you can take like sales into account. Like, BioShock was $10, but it's also been out for almost a year.
Yeah, no, Allsham has the perfect reason for Stanley Parable to fit. It perfected everything that it was trying to do. Like, everything about the mod was this guy was given money and put out a retail product, and the retail product was much better than the mod. Like, everything was done better than the mod. So,
and even like the demo for Stanley Parable was really good. Like, the demo was not even exactly the same game. Like, it was actually
like a 20-30 minute experience.
Yeah, the demo was good on its own. So like I almost think that factors in, like the execution of mod to then the demo of the full game to the full game, I think was incredibly well done.
So I think Stanley Parable makes it. And you have put a check mark by it. So all right, Risk of Rain. If you want to talk value, this might be your best one.
That's a $10 game that has sustained me at work for a lot of time.
It's Isaac-esque in the amount of hours that can be put into Risk of Rain.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, that game, especially with the increased difficulty level and everything. I would like to see that game get expanded a little bit in terms of like how long a run lasts. Even though, I mean, to be fair, a run could last an hour, but I would like to see, maybe like Isaac has multiple levels that you could go to, like the cathedral, whatever that area is called, and Mom's uterus, or whatever the fuck. Like, it's kind of lacking that sort of expansiveness, but it is really interesting. It's a really great value for $10. I've sunk already probably about 40 hours into it, and I'm still shit at it. So, but yeah, I would honestly keep this on, but that might just be me.
I think the quality of that
I haven't
game,
played it. I can't really have an input.
but
Yeah, I haven't either, but if
it's
you
a
wanna
fantastic roguelike. Again, this is one of those things where, for instance, if I had played Isaac during any of our game deliberations, obviously Isaac would have been on a list like this for me. So I think Risk of Rain makes it. I think it's again a $10 game that you can get hundreds of hours out of if you really want to. It's extremely hard, extremely tight controls, well done. So I think it makes it. All right, this next game, I tried to get Mark in the call just now, but he was not answering, and I yelled at him in chat too. So I tried to get him because he will fight tooth and nail for this game. But Saints Row 4.
Axe it. Axe it.
Wow.
Yeah, axe it.
No chance.
That's it.
No
Jesus.
chance.
Didn't play. LOL.
No.
Wow.
Not for game of the year. Not for
No.
game of the year. It's not.
It was
it's not,
it was DLC that got expanded into a full retail release.
Yep.
Like,
I
But
totally
goddamn,
agree.
was it a good full retail
I mean, it was
release.
fun. It was Saints
fun.
Row 3.5. Like, it was not a full-fledged product, and they priced it accordingly. It was still a fun game, but like, it was DLC plus. That's it.
No chance, Mark. Fight me.
I don't really completely agree with the DLC thing. Like, yeah, originally it was going to be a DLC thing, but they definitely added more than
Oh,
a
yeah.
DLC thing. But
Added a whole
still,
game.
it's repetitive.
Yeah. I mean,
that's my biggest complaint with
exactly.
it is that it's repetitive.
Repetition. Yeah. I don't think it can win. It wasn't a bad. Yeah, it's agreed. It's not bad or anything. It's definitely a lot of fun. But after it wears off after, I don't know.
I don't
10
think
hours.
someone in chat said it got too stupid for you. It never got too stupid.
No, that's,
There was
yeah.
never enough
But
too
the
stupid.
purpose of the game is to be as
Yeah, it's
stupid
supposed to be
as
fucking. If you play through the first hour, I mean, the fucking aliens attack and you're in the fucking Matrix. Like, what do you want? Like, I just didn't really follow the story. I didn't feel motivation for my character. Like, fucking nerd, don't play Saints Row then. Go play Grand Theft Auto or something else. Like, if you want something that's a little more
LA
aligned to
Noire.
real life. Go outside of your basement, you neck-bearded, fedora-wearing fuck. Don't play Saints Row. Stop posting on our atheism about your opinions. You know, it's.
I feel like this
Shut up.
rant is maybe slightly misdirected.
It is a little misdirected.
I think it kind of veered off course real quick.
This poor guy in chat, eating alive.
How dare you express an opinion in Scott's presence, sir?
No,
Right,
I'm kidding. I'm
brothers.
really not that mad about it.
Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. Several.
Were there
people
10
in there.
games better than Brothers this year?
According to Giant Bomb, there
See,
were.
I love
Didn't play.
I love
LOL.
the game, but I fear that it's not something that I would ever be able to play again. That's the one
Yeah,
thing that
I can
will
see
hold me.
that.
I could play
I
it
don't
again
know
in
that
like
I
in a
ever feel.
couple years.
Was there anything like this? Isn't a kind of negative or positive? Was there anything in that game where it was like, it's gonna sound dumb, but it does make a difference, like collectibles or like any sort of like percent complete, or is it just play through the story?
It was mostly just play through the story.
Okay, like I was just wondering because I did not play it, so.
I mean, it's a fun game. It was one of my favorite games this year, but I mean,
How dare it not be Banjo Kazooie?
I don't think it's better than any of the other games on this list. I think it's as good as Gone Home, but I think Gone Home, well, that's not even true. I think it's a step below Gone Home.
Yeah.
I think the experience I had with it was better than anything else I had on here, but it's not going to be like a long-lasting one. It's not something that I want to play again, so I would probably cut it.
Yeah, they talked
myself,
about the
because
end
It's a one at a time.
on Giant Bomb. They talked about the end of that game. Man,
It's a rough ending.
feels on top of feels. I
No,
didn't
no
even-
spoilers. I haven't played it.
Yeah,
We
shut
played it all the way
fuck
through
up.
on my show, and like
You
the
kill
ending-
Illidan.
Yeah, well, I don't watch your show.
Damn it!
You killed Illidan.
I wasn't prepared.
Carry Illidan. All right. Round one. I think we're saying that's Axe, despite being a very good game. Just to be clear, pretty much everything that we just listed, even the ones we cut, are damn good games, or the ones that we didn't play.
No, they suck.
Okay, they all suck. They're all shit. All right, so
Well,
Bioshock,
oh boy.
Gone Home, Tomb Raider, Bodied, Dota 2, The Stanley Parable, and Risk of Rain.
Fuck. This is.
6 very, very good experiences.
Let's just end it here and be like 6 games win game of the year. There you go. So the award is totally meaningless.
I want to go straight to the one.
Do you think we would upset fewer people doing that?
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
I think I've seen in chat at least like every game that's on this final list is like someone said, "I'm gonna kill myself if this game wins."
You know what? We may just have a lot of suicides on our hands.
It doesn't
All right with
matter
that.
because
Whole
at
podcast.
least there's nothing on this list that is Dishonored tier this year.
I was
That's
just
all I
about
can
to say.
That's-
If any of
I
these
don't-
games
I
win,
don't-
I would
I
like
don't
to
care
say
anymore.
my discussion
Actually, you know what?
format
In a-
has worked. There you go.
I
be
think
fair,
a giant
2012 was kind
curveball.
of
Can we
shit
nominate
year.
Dishonored DLC for Game of the Year? Please.
I will-
Which is
I will
a
vote
done
for
one.
that.
no.
I'll vote. God damn it.
I would actually kill myself.
Okay, I want to go straight to
What's not going to win?
the one out. Well, not outlier. The one that is different from all the others. Dota 2. It is the second, probably either second or third most popular game, at least in the U.S. I mean, I would say it's right up there
Oh,
on PC.
and-
by the way,
Well, it's our only
China
multiplayer
dominates
game on this list.
yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't have as
Wait,
far.
Tomb Raider.
Shut up. Tomb Raider's multiplayer only now. I think it has to make a sort of Final Four or final nominees. It's pretty much a perfect game at what it does.
But does it do enough to win Game of the Year?
I don't know if it does enough to
You
win.
sound like a game show host. But does it do enough to win Game of the Year?
Come back
If-
to see if Joe.
If those
No.
kind of games are your style, there is no game that has more value than Dota 2. There's
Right.
no game out there, period, that has more value than Dota 2. If we're taking value into consideration, there's nothing even close. Like,
So
Dota 2 is the only game that does free-to-play the way it does. The only way. Like, the only game that does it that way. And it's
I think
actually
if you
free
take
to-
into account all of the kind of innovations with the free-to-play stuff and the marketplace that Dota 2 has done, that puts it in, like, that definitely puts it in contention. It's at least for me, it's really hard to even put them in the same category as like single player games because Dota 2 is an ever evolving kind of thing. So when you talk about Game of the Year, because it technically released this year, it's like, well, look at January 2013 compared to December 2013. Like the incremental differences in quality of the game improved a lot, whereas these other games were sort of like one time it released, and sure there were like bug fixes and things, but that was the game itself.
It's definitely
So
a different kind of beast compared to the other games.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to bring it up first. I mean, for me, as someone who has played Dota 2 but doesn't play those types of games and doesn't normally enjoy them, I still can't even say like, and from the popularity and people like Nick, what they've said, there isn't
What do you mean, people like me?
a flaw to be found. I don't think, at least a glaring one, and it's a free game.
Accessibility. This is
Well,
the
That's
biggest
what
flaw I see.
So we talked
I would
about
go
that
with
on the
that.
single player. Like, it's not a game that is necessarily everyone's style that you're going to be able to easily sit down and hop into. I think that would be its
that's
biggest
not
strike.
a flaw. That's a design
To be
choice.
fa- to
That
be
is
fair,
not a
yeah,
flaw.
when-
They did not build that game for everybody. They
When-
built
That's
it so
fair.
it's fucking
That's
hard.
fair.
A lot
I
of
think
games
that's
like
I think that's a
games-
flaw from the consumer standpoint.
Games like
But-
Dota
well,
and
but
League of
it's free.
Legends.
The
Let
thing is,
Nick-
the
let
difference
Nick
is that
go.
it's free.
Let Nick go.
Games like Dota and League of Legends, it's not very accessible because the skill ceiling is so high, and that's what they're going for. They're going for something where you can constantly improve your gameplay. It's like John said, it's a design choice. It's complicated for a reason.
I'm just
But
saying
I
that's
don't-
not helping anyone's decision who finds the game frustrating and
But I
really
don't think you can
just
say
too
it's
deep
not
to get
accessible
into.
when it costs nothing to get in. You can say
Well, yeah,
that like,
then-
Gone
so
Home
that's-
or Stanley Parable isn't a game for everyone because there's a choice to be made on whether or not you purchase it. With Dota, it's fully accessible because you can try it and see if you like it. You can try the
That's
entire
true.
experience.
And
That's a point, but again, that's just not really helping anybody who plays it and doesn't enjoy it. And I'm just kind of thinking
Well-
from those people's standpoint that
But they
Kinda like,
paid
well-
zero investment to do so. That happens far more often in a game like BioShock or Tomb Raider or Stanley Parable or Risk of Rain. Somebody spends the money to buy that game
I mean, Risk-
and they don't enjoy it. They're fucked. Dota
Like,
2,
for me,
you just tried.
Dota
you don't
2,
like it,
Dota
well.
2 feels like it would win accomplishment of the year. Like, because I know a lot of people don't necessarily enjoy Dota 2, and I actually don't really love Dota 2, like, playing it. But when I look at what it has done, and, like I said, the innovations around the marketplace and everything surrounding that game, and, you know, the international and just, like, all of these new things that haven't really been done before, Dota 2, to me, is, like, accomplishment of the year. Like, game that has forced everyone else to raise the bar on, like, multiplayer games.
This is an accomplishment of the year award.
No, I know.
Actually, a good way to think of this award, though, was just brought up in chat. When I think of 2014, I think of like
well,
this
it should
game,
be 2013.
Or yes, 2013 in this case. Sorry.
That's what I do. I mean, I do too, because you look at like the international, you look at the story of like the Alliance and Navi. Like there's a lot of stuff with them too.
I mean, yeah,
like
Navi.
I think of Dota 2 and BioShock exclusively when I think of this year. I don't think of any other games.
Okay.
That's just me.
See that? Does it like the thing about frustration as well, Blacklight, is that like Isaac was extremely frustrating for like the first 30 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean any game is going to take some getting into, but I think that a degree of accessibility is important to voting a game of the year, because it has to be something that everybody sees game of the year. They go, oh yeah, man, that was a great game. I got right into it. And that's just what I think. I find that Dota is a very inaccessible title just because it's really fucking hard. But, I mean, if you guys have some good arguments against it in its favor, so... I mean, I still don't think
I'm not saying it's game of the year. I'm saying...
May the odds be ever in our favor.
I think it makes a nominee for me. I think Dota 2 has made enough of an impact.
Are we doing another round?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Like, I
so
want to cut it down
another
to 4 if we can.
Okay.
So essentially 2 games have to go.
All right, Tomb Raider and Tomb Raider.
Fucking hate you so much.
You're the only one gunning for Tomb Raider this hard. I haven't played it, so I don't know.
I am the only one who would vote for Tomb Raider. I'm sure of that. But I think it's better than 2 others of these, for sure, for me. I think it's better than BioShock for me because I actually had fun playing through the game. I wasn't just slogging through it. We've talked about this before.
I agree with that.
I wasn't slogging through it to get to another, albeit amazing, story point. But that's essentially what BioShock was for me. Minus the handyman battles, which I found really exciting. But other than those, I was just
handies
like...
from men.
Yeah, handies from men. I mean, obviously solid.
Game of the year.
But...
Dude, handies, game of the year.
Handies from men.
Handies.
Sorry, ladies.
So let's just go ahead here then and go through. Brandon, what is your vote?
I probably shouldn't go first.
All right. Blacklight, what is your vote?
I really want to say Risk of Rain and be a hipster.
Do it.
Because it is really...
That's your feels.
No.
Do it.
Let me just explain. Like I want to be a hipster and say Risk of Rain because it was really good. The problem is that Risk of Rain is relatively new, and especially to me, like I got into it even later than most people. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I'm going to feel the way about Risk of Rain now that I do now that I don't in 10 years. Sorry, not in 10 years. Let's say even like a year. I don't know if I'm going to feel the way I do about Risk of Rain. Because games like that, I tend to just wake up one day and just say, I don't want to play that game anymore. I've gone through that with like every roguelike I've ever played. I feel like roguelikes just have a wall of enjoyment for me that eventually I hit and then I'm just done with that game. Might loop back to it, might not. On the other hand, I could always go back and play BioShock. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, fucking BioShock, it's overrated. Fucking... Everybody just wants to like circle jerk over how BioShock was overrated, and yeah, maybe it got overhyped more than it should have been, but it was still an incredibly well-made game. I really enjoyed every moment I played of it, and I'm gonna make that my vote, even though it's gonna piss a lot of people off. Fuck y'all.
Blacklight votes for Risk of Rain.
No, I don't. I vote for BioShock.
Made BioShock. Okay, sorry. I like in that rant I was lost at some point.
Sorry. That might be my fault.
Hex.
I vote for Gone Home.
Gone Home. All right. You voted for that for you were completely wrong in indie game, but you voted for it anyway.
What did you want indie game? What indie game
should have been the Swapper or Path of Exile, but that's okay.
It should not have been either.
It should have been both of those.
No.
Scott.
Tomb Raider would be a close second for me, but Gone Home is my vote.
I have to vote BioShock like BLA. For me, that's my game of the year. Even if, definitely BioShock Infinite for me.
To be fair, I didn't play like most of these games, and also I really didn't like Battlefield 4 that much. So,
yeah.
Like, another point for Infinite though is Infinite had the most hype a game could possibly have.
That's what
before it came out, and then
it lived up to
it just lived up to pretty much all of it. So, I mean,
it's impressive.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, you gotta do something special.
So many people in the chat are butthurt about Gone Home, and you're all wrong.
Dude, people in chat not fans of Gone Home.
I could give a fuck less what the people in our chat think.
Well, I'm aware of that.
You are all nothing if you thought that game was garbage.
Wow, dude.
Fine.
All right,
Not
John.
sure how much weight that carries coming from you, but
Probably almost as much as it comes.
Wait, Hex, what's your WoW name again?
Spunk Barrage.
Oh, there you go.
Tons
Back
of
at
weight.
net neutrality
Everybody,
right now.
everybody's expecting me to choose Dota 2, and while I think it's probably the best overall game of the year, for me personally, I have to go with BioShock because I'm sure Dota and play it. And BioShock is a game that I will play numerous times. You know,
get the DLC.
I gotta
by the way.
DLC. I got to.
Fucking
I'm
get
gonna
the
start playing it
DLC.
again tonight, probably.
All right, Fenton.
Gone Home, because the game is just straight up fucking beautiful and makes you think about what video games can accomplish through story. Or at least it made me think about it, so yeah.
Yep, I agree.
All right, I will go next, and we'll have Brandon go last because he looks concerned. He looks super concerned over there. I'm voting for Tomb Raider because I mean, regardless of anything else, it was the best time I had playing a video game through this year.
Dan, what's your WoW name?
Fuck slime.
Okay, actually, you get immunity.
For now.
I had to think. I have a lot of really good ones.
You've earned that fuck slime immunity for the time being.
Fuck slime immunity.
He gets the immunity torch from Survivor, but it's just a fleshlight on top of a stick.
Dan, do you think you would have enjoyed Tomb Raider as much if you were just playing it by yourself and like not streaming it? I'm just asking.
Yeah, because the gameplay was fun. Like, it was just a fun game to play. Everything they did with the bow and stuff in that game was great. There were definite negatives in that game.
GOTY.
Yeah, it was the year of the bow. Crisis 3,
really was.
Tomb Raider. But I think that game, I never, like, even during the stream, though, I never was like, I need to stop playing this game, like, or I want to stop playing this game. I wanted to continue playing. I think I beat it in 2 sessions, maybe. And I think
Not a short game either. It's like an 8 or 9 hour game.
Yeah, I mean, the story was like, the story wasn't bad. It wasn't BioShock for sure, but it wasn't bad. The only real, true, huge negative in that game was the inclusion of QuickTime events on a couple bosses. Not on every boss, just on a few of them.
That was so weird that it was only on some of them.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. And one was super frustrating because the buttons wouldn't show up right away sometimes, but like everything else about that game, it was great. So that's my vote. The votes are now split 3 ways. So, but
I didn't
mean,
really intend to become the tiebreaker.
One is currently winning.
You totally
what?
landed.
How is it? What?
No, it's not split. I meant we've all voted, like, across us, we voted for 3 different games. The single player was more of a landslide, but go ahead, Brandon.
It's really tough because I think, like, for me, BioShock, Gone Home, Dota 2, Stanley Parable, like all those could win, and I'd be fine with any of those choices. I think like Gone Home is really good. I think it's an amazing experience, having literally just played it a day ago. But it's like, for me, it's not a game that I think that. What am I trying to say?
Yeah, Brandon, what are you trying to say?
I think it left me wanting more, but almost not in a good way. Like, I see exactly what they wanted out of it, and I really enjoyed the couple hours I spent with it. But when I think of Game of the Year, and I look at something like BioShock, where I played through it, and I think I kind of have the same opinion of John here, where like BioShock is a game where in 4 or 5 years I'll come back to it because it's sort of a cornerstone of like games that you should play. And I think BioShock is I really enjoyed it. It's not perfect, but I think again it was so hyped up, and for the most part it lived up to all that hype, and I think that's my vote.
All right. Well, I think we're keeping people I think we should keep everything as nominees. Like when I put this vote up, it's going to be all 6 of these games, I think, because we spoke so highly of all 6 of these. That
this and like I just want to say too, like this podcast illustrates why Game of the Year is really like such a dumb thing, because there's not one game that is objectively better than every other game that came out. Right? Like
my number 2 was Tomb Raider, by the way, people. Just so you know, Dan's not the only one. Number 2.
I agree. Mine was too.
All of these games have such very, very different value propositions. Like Gone Home is an experience, right? It's not a game. It's an interactive story experience that's like a couple hours long. BioShock is a great single-player experience. Dota 2 is a great multiplayer experience. To even try and like pick one that's like the Game of the Year is silly. So all of these games are good. If you haven't played them, just like buy them, play them.
In fact, the 6 we eliminated are also pretty damn good. So there you go.
They wouldn't have been on this list if they weren't good.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's a good point by Brandon. I totally agree. It's hard.
But we do this.
They're different.
Because
like
we do it anyway.
If you're mad that a specific game lost, stop being mad, because all of these games are good.
Go play them.
So basically, what we could say is congratulations, Madden 25 for winning Game of the Year for KBMOD.
Not a surprise, really, at all.
No. The Madden franchise has been, a stalwart for years, and
blockers actually realistically collide with other blockers in gang tackles this year, which is exciting. Exciting for me.
The people in the stands are actually 5 polygons this year.
It's impressive.
I hope that guy didn't get timed out. I hope he got timed out and not banned. I've had a lot of complaints lately, mods. Just FYI.
I'd like to know what X Rebirth is, by the way. I'm just looking.
It's one of the
at
worst games of the
now.
year, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
It's a space sim.
So, this the 6 nominees for Game of the Year for us were Risk of Rain, The Stanley Parable, Dota 2, Tomb Raider, Gone Home, and BioShock Infinite, with the winner going to BioShock Infinite. Not entirely shocking.
Tomb Raider.
God damn, why is everyone shitting on?
I didn't play the game, man.
So our awards are officially over. This week,
I will.
we'll be posting a post for single player experience of the year, and also for Game of the Year for community voting, so you guys can make your voices heard there. So if you think we're full of shit and opinions are pretty crazy,
zany opinions,
you can express yours on the site this week, and then next week we'll have a little segment on the podcast where we will read off the final community choices as well as our choices. We'll just go over the categories quickly, and return to normal format next week. So, all right, guys, we're going to take another quick 2-minute commercial break and then do some questions from you guys.